Hi, I'm Mary Forsythe with Kingdom Living Ministries, and I want to share an interview that I did with a podcaster, Erica, who has an amazing platform called You're More Than Your Age. And she just gives really an opportunity for women to talk about chasing their dreams and going after their passions at all stages of life. And so it was just really fun. She's very energetic, asks great questions, and we really had a good time. In fact, she saved her 100th episode for me, which I thought was really great. But I really enjoyed reflecting back and just reminding myself how faithful the Lord has been. And every time I would hit an intersection of hitting something in my belief system or woundedness in my soul, the Holy Spirit would be so great to reveal that and show me the way out. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to be seeking God's transformative power through my relationship with Him. You know, it comes through intimacy. Change is one thing. Transformation's a totally another thing. And I'm still on that journey, and the Holy Spirit is still showing me things. You know, Mary, that's not really you. That's just not you. You're made in my image. God is like Jesus, exactly like Jesus. I didn't know it, but now I do. So when I show up in something other than my real self, the Holy Spirit's really good at showing me, Mary, let me show you how you can do that out of your real self. And I'm just so thankful that the Holy Spirit is available to all of us, to guide us and to lead us and to shepherd us. And if you're hungry for your soul to be restored, ask Him, Holy Spirit, what are you focused on in my life to heal, to mature, to transform? And then say yes to Him. Every path He puts you on leads to life. So I hope you enjoy the interview with Erica on her podcast, You're More Than Your Age.
The thought in my forefront would be, this will go away. I'll answer all their questions. It's pretty tough right now, but it'll go away. I kept thinking, I can pull myself up by my bootstraps. I've done that my entire life. And if there's a discrepancy, I'll just pay them. I got enough cash in my checking account to write a check for anything they need. So, but yeah, the investigators would show up at the workplace of my friends, ask, well, what kind of watch does Mary wear? What kind of clothes does she wear? Just ask about possessions, lifestyle, and they were not forewarned.
Wow. I just imagine.
Glad you weren't a friend of mine back then.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah. I'm safe now, though.
So all this is going on, you said, for about 2.5 years. So if you were convicted of the charges against you, it would be 15 felony counts ranging from mail fraud to theft of government property. And then the time came after this 2.5-year legal investigation, and you heard the word guilty.
Yes, before we got that, of course, that was after trial, but after the 2.5, 3 years of investigation, the first shaking news was that I had 15 felony. When my attorney called me and said, the grand jury has returned an indictment, they have charged you with Mary and Martha, with 15 felony counts. And that's when reality changed. And I didn't know then what I know now, that, a grand jury only sees the prosecution's side of the story. So almost, the percentage of things that come back as indictments in the grand jury is pretty high. But the inconvenience and the pressure that was before that indictment turned into a crucible that I don't even have words to explain. The pressures, and then the humiliation, and then somehow, Erica, the shame from my past began to get triggered, and then the embarrassment is too light of a word. The crucible of shame, that's a new term that just came to me. I've never used that before. Was so intense that before I went to prison, I attempted suicide. I couldn't imagine. The pressure just began to mount and mount. And my story was being told in the Dallas Morning News. And then I was on CNN for 3 nights. And it's a pressure that I can't even describe. So one night I couldn't take it anymore. My ex-fiance had even offered for us to flee the country before we went to trial. And I just kept hearing a voice in my head, if you do that, you'll never see your parents again. If you do that, you'll never see your parents again. So I told Mike no, but that crucible didn't go away. And so one night I grabbed some wine, made a plan, and I drove to the pharmacy. I locked the door behind me. It was after hours, and I knew the exact combination of medicine I was going to take, downing it with alcohol, and that would end the crucible. So I'll never forget it. I walked back to the shelves, and I went to get I already had a little wine on board. I went to get the first bottle off the shelf, and I can't explain this. There's many things about my testimony I can't explain, but it is as if an angel put a hand, and I couldn't even pick up the bottle. It was like a brick invisible wall in front of that first bottle of pills that I was going to combine for my way out. I had a way out. I had a way to avoid the humiliation and the shame that not only I was currently experiencing, but the increased pain that was right ahead of me. And I kept trying. I couldn't even pick it up. And I literally just fell to the floor, and I thought, what a failure. I can't even kill myself. And so I just went home in defeat. And so by the time I get to trial, I was just a mess. I was broken on the inside, humiliated. I couldn't fix it. This is one of the first things in my entire life I couldn't fix. And so after 3.5 weeks of this public crucible, you're right. The verdict came back. Martha was acquitted. Mary, the other Mary, was acquitted. And I was the third verdict to be announced. And the judge had the gavel on the bench and said, Mary Forsythe, guilty of 15 counts.